Good morning, dear class 10 students. Dear students, as far as the history civics syllabus guides us, so we have to follow the same syllabus for our study and for our learning. So, in the previous video, we completed the second phase of national movement, and today we will deal with the Muslim League, and in this chapter we will talk only objectives of the Muslim League. So this is the guideline given to all of you by the syllabus. So now let us start then aim and objective of the Muslim League. The objectives of the Muslim League were laid down as follows. First, to promote among the Muslim of India support for British government. So this was the decision of the Muslim League leaders that they will promote among the Muslims the feeling of support for the British and to remove any misunderstanding. Misconception means misunderstanding regarding the intention of government in relation to Indian Muslims. So it's very clearly speaking that they decided, that means the Muslim League leaders and the Muslim people, that they will have the complete support to British government, and whatever misunderstanding is there among them, that should be removed, and the relationship between government and the Muslim people may be more good and may be more better for the betterment of the Muslim community. Number 2, to protect and advance. Advance means provide the political rights and interests of the Muslim and to represent their needs and aspiration to the government in mild and moderate language. So the second point as a aim and objective, speaking that the Muslim League leaders will be always protecting and providing the political rights and interests of the Muslims and to represent their needs and aspirations to government. So whatever Muslim people have the right, political right, social and so on, let those all rights should be protected by the Muslim League leaders, and they will work hand in hand with the government in the gentle and moderate manner. Number 3, to prevent the rise of feeling of hostility between Muslims of India and Indian communities. So the Muslim League decided that there will be no any hostility. Hostility means enmity between the Indian Muslims and the other communities. So they said that it is the duty of these Muslim League leaders to stop the feeling of enmity between Muslims and the other communities in India. So, dear students, this is the only point aim and objective of the Muslim League that we have to discuss in this chapter. And now we will go to the next chapter, that is chapter 6, Mahatma Gandhi and National Movement. And there we will focus mostly on some particular topics like non-cooperation movement, Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, Khilafat movement, and so on. So let us start then with non-cooperation movement. So here the paragraph speaking that during the First World War, the Congress cooperated with British. So the line is speaking that the First World War started in 1914 and ended in 1918. So during this time, Congress decided to cooperate with British and to support the British government in this dangerous time, in this critical time. Even Gandhiji urged the Gujarati peasants to join the army. So, in order to support British in the First World War, Gandhiji even requested the Gujarati peasants, farmers, to join in army and fight in support of British army in the battleground. So the reason is that why Gandhiji said that if we want Swaraj, I mean the freedom, then this is a time when we cooperate the British people in the battle, then obviously the freedom which we want will be fulfilled. But events of 1919 like the Khilafat wrongs, or we can say the Khilafat movement, passing of the Rowlatt Act and the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy means we can say incidents, greatly disillusioned Gandhiji. Disillusioned means disappointed Gandhiji. He turned from a cooperator to a non-cooperator and decided to start a non-cooperation movement. But after the World War ended, with what purpose the Congress party leaders supported British in the battle, that was not fulfilled, and the Swaraj was not provided, I mean the freedom was not given to the Indian people. So from there onwards, Gandhiji said to the Indian people to not to cooperate anymore to the British, because after the World War we can see many wrong laws were passed by British to control the Indian nationalist leaders and the national movement. So like here, the Rowlatt Act was passed, Jallianwala Bagh incidents took place, and we can say these all things happened in against of the expectation of the Indian people and the leaders. So he turned from a cooperator to non-cooperator and decided to start non-cooperation movement. So seeing these wrong policies and orders which were passed by British made Gandhiji to not to cooperate, not to support anymore British government in any field, in any area. Non-cooperation is a way of protest or protesting in which one does not cooperate with evildoer. the group or a person who is doing wrong things or planning to do wrong things should not be cooperated, and people should protest against these all we call the actions and the laws. Gandhiji asked the people to not to assist means support the foreign government to rule over them. Gandhiji said non-cooperation with evil is as much a duty is a cooperation with good. So it is a sin for a person or a people to support the evildoer. So it is better to support the people or the groups who are willing to do good something for the others. Now let us talk about the causes that led to the non-cooperation movement. So we will start with first point, that is Rowlatt Act. On receiving a report from Sedition Commission means we can say action committee headed by Justice Rowlatt, two bills were introduced in a central legislature in February 1919. The bill was to curb the growing upsurge the country. That means the purpose of passing these bills to just control the growing, we call the patriotism of the country. In spite of opposition or opposing from the Indians, the Rowlatt Act was passed in March 1919. So Indian people opposed these two bills, but in spite of that opposing, Rowlatt Act was passed in 1919. This act authorized the government to imprison any person without trial and convict him in a court. So the Rowlatt Act actually was the law which deals with certain orders. Like here we have the first point, arrest of a person without warrant. So according to Rowlatt Act, if any person is leading any type of movement or joining in any political activities, then he will be arrested without any warrant. Number 2, in Camera trial in selection, so there will be no any trial for him in the court or in front of the judges. Number 3, restriction on movement of individuals, and Rowlatt Act said that there should not be any movement of individuals in the country. So there was completely restrictions were done to the people or for the individuals not to join any particular movements. Number 4, suspense of the right of habeas corpus. So it is very much suspense for the people of the right of habeas corpus. So the meaning of habeas corpus is, it is a law which says that an arrested person be brought before a judge or a court before being released or imprisoned. So that is the meaning of habeas corpus. Once again I am repeating, it is a law, or we can say writs, which says that an arrested person can be brought before a judge or a court before being released or imprisoned. The act came like a sudden blow to the Indians who were expecting self-government. Gandhiji appealed to the Viceroy to withhold, to take back Gandhiji requested Viceroy to take this law and order back. His consent to such measures. However, he appealed was ignored, but government did not show interest to his appeal. He started Satyagraha as a challenge to the government. The Rolex Satyagraha emerged as the first all-Indian struggle against the British government. However, it was largely confined to cities. So, the Satyagraha movement was launched or started against the action of Rolex Act, and this Satyagraha movement was largely confined or limited to the cities. The Satyagraha movement did not spread to the remote areas. In April 1919, there occurred a number of demonstrations and strikes in the country. The British government took brutal measures. So, during Satyagraha movement, we could see there were a lot of demonstrations took place, strikes happened to control the brutal measures or the cruel actions of the British to suppress this anti-British struggle. So, to suppress this anti-British struggle, British government used brutal actions. In fact, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre on the order of General Dyer in Amritsar on April 13, 1919 was the part of this repression. So, we have the example of Jallianwala Bagh, and that was one of the brutal action done by British government under the leadership of General Dyer. However, an important features of Rolex Act Satyagraha was Hindu-Muslim unity. So, however, these all incidents happened, but it brought Hindu and Muslim all together in unity. This was the call given by Mahatma Gandhi, who always saw a unified Indian belonging to the people of all religion, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, Jains and Parsis. He wanted that the Hindus and Muslims should support each other in any just cause. So, whenever this is a matter of justice, both the Hindus and Muslims should come together and support it. That's what Gandhiji wanted. Now let us talk about number 2, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy or incidents. A large but peaceful crowd gathered at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar on April 13, 1919 to protest against the arrest of leaders like Dr. Safiuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal. Actually, in Jallianwala Bagh, people gathered in order to protest against the arrest of two leaders, which the names are written here. Jallianwala Bagh had only one exit, so exit means only one door was there to come out. In other, the side were enclosed by buildings, so and other side, the complete garden was blocked, or we would call was having the walls everywhere. General Dyer, the military commander of Amritsar, surrounded the Bagh garden with his soldiers. After closing the exit means the door, with his troops, he ordered them to shoot at the crowd. So General Dyer ordered to set a fire to the crowd or the people who are inside the garden. The troops kept on firing. The army continued firing on the people till their ammunition was exhausted, till their guns were tired, or we can see till their guns finished bullets. About 1,000 innocent demonstrators were killed and many more wounded. The conscience of the nation was shaken at the massacre of innocent people. So this incident completely second the Indian people. On learning about this gruesome measure, this wrong measure, this cruel measure, Rabindranath Tagore expressed the pain and anger of the country by renouncing his knighthood. Knighthood means he was given the title of knighthood. He renounced, he left that titleship, giving up the honor granted by British Crown for exceptional personal achievement of public service. After the massacre, after the incidents, the British government made a half-hearted attempt at constitutional reforms. So after Jallianwala Bagh incidents, British government half-heartedly tried to bring some changes, to bring some constitutional changes, but it also made it clear that it had no intention of parting with political power or sharing it with Indians. So, but British had no any intention to share political powers to the Indians. The British government also refused to annul the Rowlatt Act and make amends for the autocracies in Punjab. So, British government even did not want to change the Rowlatt Act policies in Punjab. Number 3, let us talk about Khilafat movement. In the First World War, Turkey was defeated and the Ottoman Empire was divided. So, in the First World War, Turkey was defeated by the British. The Sultan of Turkey, who was the Caliph actually is the religious leader, was deprived of all authorities. So he was removed from his all authorities, all powers. The Caliph was looked upon by large section of Muslims as their religious leader. So Caliph actually was considered the religious leader of the Muslims. They felt that any weakening of the Caliph's position would adversely affect the position of the Muslims. So if something goes against Caliph, that means it is affecting the Muslim people. That's what the line speaking. In this First World War, the British fought against Turkey. The Muslim population in India started powerful agitation or protest known as Khilafat movement under the leadership of Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, Maulana Azad Hakim Ajmal Khan and Hasrat Mohini. The Khilafatis formed a three-point programs. First one, the Ottoman Caliph should retain his empire. So, Ottoman Caliph, that means the Caliph of Turkey, should be given back his empire and his power. Number B, the Caliph must be left with sufficient territory to enable him to defend the Islamic faith. And Caliph must be given the sufficient territory to look after the Islamic faith. Number C, the Arab lands, Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Palestine must remain under the Muslim rule. Khilafat Day was observed on October 17, 1919 on an all India scale. Gandhiji saw the Khilafat movement as an opportunity for uniting Hindus and Muslims. He said that the Congress plea for Hindu-Muslim unity would be an empty phrase if the Hindus hold aloof from the Muslims when their vital interests are at stake. So, Mahatma Gandhi was elected as a president of All Indian Khilafat Conference in November 1919. He advised Khilafat Committee to adopt a policy of non-cooperation with the government. By August 31st, 1920, the Khilafat non-cooperation movement started. People resigned from government services, so the Khilafat movement was Khilafat non-cooperation movement was started, and this movement was very well supported strongly by the people, and many people resigned from the government service. Shops selling foreign goods were picketed. Picketed means they were strongly stopped, and then we'd call this all foreign goods were thrown on the roadside and set fire. Students boycotted. They boycotted schools and colleges. That means they decided not to go schools and colleges, and hartals and demonstrations were held. By the end of 1920, the Khilafat movement and the Congress non-cooperation movement merged into one nationwide movement. So both Khilafat movement and the Congress non-cooperation movement joined together and made it as a nationwide movement. In 1921, Khilafat Committee appealed to all Muslims to join the police and armed force and not to pay taxes. This enraged the government. This system of Indians completely shaken the government. The Ali brothers were arrested on charge of sedition. So Ali brothers were arrested for this action. So dear students, today we will discuss up to this point, and in the next video class we will move to the other topics. So this way, dear students, we will be following the IC board syllabus, and according to that we will deal the topics. So thank you for today. You please go through with the topics which I explained to you and try to understand these all topics.